As a continuation to the video texture blend folder management, I would like to show you now how the file browser in Blender works. The nice thing about Blender is on a Mac or Windows or Linux, it looks exactly the same. However, that means also you need to understand how a file system on each system operates. So let's say I would like to open a folder inside my Google Drive, Wayne State Teaching Industrial Design folder. So I can go to File and Open. And when I do this, instantly you can see Blender opens the file browser, which is kind of like an app inside Blender. And then this is what you see. So in the upper area, for example, we have some icons for navigating between folders, going a step back, refreshing what we see. Currently I'm inside user, my name, and then I'm on the desktop. For example, if I drag a new object onto the desktop and I want to see it, I might have to refresh it. And then here I have different views, for example, for the display mode, showing more information, having like an icon preview. This is very good when, for example, we would like to take a look at images, because otherwise you only see names. Here we have some sorting options for the names, etc., and dates. And then this is something that's more important for what's inside the folder of Blender. And I will show you that at one point as well, because we can actually open a blend file and navigate it like a folder structure and then link or import something from one blend design to the next one. And then those icons here will be useful. Here we have actually a file browser or filter. So basically, if we have hundreds of files or images and we would like to find something quickly, we can type the name and then the system will show it. Okay, on the left side under system, you will see all the different storage devices you have. So I'm on a Mac right now. I'm in OS 10, and this is basically my Mac. This is my Windows SSD, and this is my data SSD. And then here I have my system bookmarks. So the system bookmarks on my Mac, for example, are the same I have, for example, here set up. So you see all these bookmarks from here will copy it over to the system. So when, see here I have testing and testing, Leland and Leland, Shaper 3D, Shaper 3D, and this is Wayne State Engineering, Wayne State Engineering. Okay. I can, for example, click these bookmarks and then it jumps to these folders. Can double click a folder here or go back. So yeah, you don't have to double click, just click and then you see it always opens the folder. If you then want to open a file, you can click a file and then double click it or click open blend file. So for example, this is called New Sphere 16. Let's say I type in 16 and you see it filters everything out and shows me only files that have, for example, the 16. So that's, for example, how the search filter works. But let's say you would like to make a bookmark for a certain project folder. So I go to Wayne State Teaching, then 3D modeling, or I can go back, industrial design. And let's say for this folder, I would like to create a bookmark. So I'm currently in volumes, data SSD, Google Drive, yada, yada, yada. Then you can go to bookmarks and click the plus icon. And then you see there it creates a bookmark. I also, for example, have a bookmark for textures. This is inside my Google Drive Design Resources textures, because inside this folder I store all resources for textures, shaders, models, etc. And you see you can jump between these locations by simply clicking on the bookmarks. If you want to remove a bookmark, you can simply click on the minus and then you see it removes it. And let's bring this back because I'm in industrial design. Okay. Then here you also have recent. This is, for example, it's just a collection of all the folders you recently visited. So let me now go to design 1, and there is the blend file, and we're going to open it. But before we do this, I'm going to go back a folder and go to design resources, go to textures, and you see they're empty. There's nothing in there. I go to maybe my other texture folders, maybe the fusion textures, and everything is empty. The thing why everything is empty is because we're trying to open a blend file, and there are actually all these textures. Currently, because I went to file open, a blend file, it filters out already all the blend files so that only those are visible. Okay, so in case you get confused, open. Perfect. Okay, so I will quickly create a material, and then I will create an image texture, and then I will click open, and we, as you can see, jump back to the file browser. Because now I can go back to my design resources, maybe textures, and there you see now actually the two textures I can select, because now the file browser opens actually not a blend file, but an image. And there now I can, for example, turn on the preview. For example, I can turn them on large, and then you can preview all these textures. Also for the HDR, that actually works really fast and nice. Okay. And also here again, let's say you have 40 wood textures and there's a certain wood you would like to find and you know the name, you can just type the name and then it finds or filters out basically the files with the string you entered. Okay, perfect. As a last part, I mentioned before in the file browser, you can also get something from another blend file or so. So I will just create this texture. Hold on, I have to maybe assign this material. Okay, and now I will save. Okay, so now I can go to File and New. Okay, now I have a blend file. And then Shift A, let's make a new plane, something, and I would like to, for example, import the material from the blend file I previously created. So what I'm going to show you is basically also how then we share between different blend files. For example, the geometry, camera position, materials, objects, etc. So we can go to File, and we don't go to Import or Open. We actually go to Append. So I will go to the blend file from where I would like something to copy out. And you see this is a blend file. And currently you see I'm inside the Append from library, which in this case, when I now click the blend file, it doesn't open it, but it as a new file to open, but you see it opens actually the internal folder structure. Because a blend file, essentially the file format has a structure with all these bits of information about the geometry, for example, the objects. You see I have a cube and a floor. If I go to material, there's this one material I just created with the wood applied. So, for example, I say append from library. Nothing happened, but when I select the mesh and then go to material, go to the material selector, and you see there is that material. Okay. But this is not limited, as I said, only to materials. I can literally get everything out. Well, we don't have any texture there yet, but for example, we have under mesh, we have the mesh for the cube and the plane. And for example, if I go to object, I also have the objects, cube and floor. So when I select, for example, the cube, I will import the object plus the material plus the mesh. So everything that's somewhat linked to the cube. So append from library. And there you see, now there is that cube, which, for example, as you see, comes even including the modifiers. So that's basically the way then how between different blend files you can create, you can import or export certain assets, and it's not only limited to textures. You literally can move everything over, even a camera, an object, texture, just the mesh data, etc. Before I bring this to an end, there is also, for example, this link. And everybody that knows Illustrator, you know, when you drag an image into a document from the desktop, there are two ways. You can just link it in, or you can embed it. So with the link in, basically Illustrator always loads the file from or loads a preview from the image on the desktop. So when I adjust the image on the desktop in Illustrator, it will update. Or I can embed it. And basically with embedding, it copies the image right into the Illustrator file. Now with Append, you see that actually this works like embedding, because I simply made a copy and moved this one from the other file over to here. With link, this works a little bit different. So I will go link, let's say cube, link from library, and you see that this one is now highlighted in a different color, because I can actually not actually modify it or so, it is just linked over. So maybe let's save this one and we call this one design test. Okay, and I will go now to my design file there, and for example here I will move this one up and then save the file. Okay, and then I will go back and load this one, and you see actually what happened. So the geometry actually got carried over. So basically you can have different blend files where you have static objects in and you link them in. There are also more settings to linking, so basically we can move them around, but we will never be able to adjust them, so the geometry. This, for example, can be very useful. Let's say you have a standardized render environment and you always want to link that in so you don't have to model it all the time. We can simply link the geometry over. And if maybe, let's say you have 10 renderings, they all use the same backdrop, and then you want for all renderings to change the backdrop, we can simply go then to the file. For example, design is where I have this cube linked from. You go to the file that has the scene, adjust it, save it, and then in all your other 10 render scenes, the backdrop will instantly update, because the moment you load this file, Blender also loads this cube, which is linked from the other file. And that basically sums up everything I wanted to show you first about how, for example, the file browser works and the different modes we have, and how, for example, you can open a blend file, how you can import, for example, a texture, how the different icons work, and then also give you a preview about how, for example, the append and link works. There obviously is a lot more to it. I will introduce you to those in the upcoming videos.